classroom.
Welcome back, folks on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us. That was the Minister of the FCT, Yesom Wike, doing something I think we all can take a lead from, particularly if you're interested in politics, rather than going everywhere crying, they rigged it. There's a huge possibility to vote for that person. The joy on their faces, the way they are happy, they are shouting, and they are happy that their king or their Etsu is being elevated to first class. Everybody is happy. Next election, you hear, like Dr. Badu said in the comment section, agreement is agreement. Everybody will be happy to vote for him. This is what I think those who spend time on social media pontificating and speaking Oyibo, they don't understand. They don't get it, that people don't care what you know until they know that you care, and you have to care for them. All this with no give CC, that'll be crying that they've rigged you. You are the one that doesn't understand how politics works. If you like, cry. If you like, say, let's see. Just be speaking English. This is OT. This is common sense. This is political sense. This is how to work with the grassroots, not just speaking in English. And I'm using the word English. The reason is because, we tend to assume that because we can analyze and, refer to books and stuff, that we really know how to get things done. And there's a place for that. There's a place for ideology. There's a place for being able to enunciate and all of those things. But there's also a place for understanding how things work practically. And those who are on the field or who are doing things in the field, we should look at what they are doing and appreciate and learn something. And you can also do it rather than shouting, Jesus Christ. Sorry guys, there's a lunatic that just entered this place. You should be shaking your head for your parents. If you like, be doing like this retard that just came in and I just muted him. Be going everywhere shouting, oh, we know politics. They will keep winning. You keep crying. And that's your lot in life. All right, let's move away from... How did this thing affect your parents, Ibedu? What I'm saying right now, how does it affect your parents? I don't know why you're crying in the comment section. I'll see if it affects your parents. Let me tell you one thing that will probably make you cry and go back home. Zamfara State Governor, His Excellency Daouda Lawal, has also moved to APC. I'm going to read this to you from the Nation newspaper. Breaking. Zamfara Governor Lawal dumps PDP for APC. Governor Dauda Lawal has formally defected from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC) following consultations with political stakeholders across the state. The development was announced in a statement issued on Monday by Nuhu Saliu Anka. According to the statement, the decision followed extensive consultations with political leaders, elders and supporters across Zamfara state and was taken in the interest of the state's stability, progress and sustainable development. How many states are now with the APC now? Anybody knows? I know definitely. I just want to be sure that we know. Does anybody remember how many states are now APC states in this country? Any guess? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. 31, you're very close. 32, that's the answer. Not 32. It was 31, right? But now, they're 32. So the only states that are not APC right now in Nigeria, Osun, Accord, Oyo, PDP, Abia, LP, Anambra, Abga. Those are the only states. It's 4 out of 36. Dr. Badru. Anambra, Abia, Ogun, Anambra, Abia, Oyo, and Osun. That's all. All the other states are now APC states. So there are 32 states. By the way, PDP had something like this in 2003. Oh, sorry, Bauchi, you are right. 31 states, you are right. Bauchi is still PDP. Thank you. Bauchi is still PDP, so that's 31 out of 36. Oyo, Osun, Abia, Anambra, and Bauchi. That's Bala Mohammed. Thank you. So those are the only 5 states that are not PDP states now, or that are not APC states. Every other state is APC now. Wow. That's serious. PDP used to have this advantage, by the way, right? Because I see people saying things like, oh, one party system. And just like, is it like we forget history so quickly or so soon? Like PDP in 2003 was, I don't know how many states, I can't remember exactly the number of states right now, but many of the states in Nigeria, I know that in Southwest they took 5 out of 6. AD had 6 states in the Southwest. PDP took all of them except one, Lagos State. PDP was controlling Southeast. They were controlling South as well. They were controlling most of the states in Nigeria. The thing is, what are you going to do with this advantage? And I think that's what APC folks should be thinking about, not just being happy that they have more states. What are you going to do with this advantage? How does it benefit your party? How does it benefit the people of those states? That's the question I think they should be asking that right now. But it's quite nice that people are. Interestingly, this man, Governor Lawal, was actually in APC. Originally, he was in APC before he moved to PDP, and now he's essentially back home. I wish them all the best, but 2027 is going to be very, very interesting. 2027 will be very, very interesting. But like I always say, I feel somehow about the fact that Nigerian political parties are essentially platforms that help people accomplish their own goals, their own political goals, not necessarily ideological spaces where the parties are committed to certain, ideals. I don't think it's cool, but it's a Nigerian story at the moment. There was a video from Tawi Daily that I did not play earlier. I just saw it now. I apologize, but I'm going to play it very quickly before we go to the other news that we have. But before I go there, let me just read something from the YouTube. Your Might on YouTube says Anambra and Abia are APC in proxy. I know Anambra is definitely. I don't know much about. I think since you mentioned Anambra, let me play you something from Anambra before we go to Tawi Daily. I don't know if Abia is, but I'm sure that Anambra actually, the governor works with the presidency, which is good, to be honest. Because what are you going to do? There's no APGA presidential candidate. You might as well work with the one who is there. And if it helps your people, the more reason you should support him. But now that you mentioned Anambra, let me play something from Anambra before we go back to Tawo Edele, okay? This is from the governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo. Please take a listen to him.
To some others who put in everything that they had in the process to unseat Soludo. And the Christ crossed one of them, for example, who put in everything. Organized, had his photo, even though it wasn't on the ballot, had his picture for the billboards all over the state. Just the same way, the late Demon Ojukwu raised his hand and asked the Anambra to vote. He thought that he would also come and raise somebody's hand and to unseat Soludo. You could touch the bitterness, you could touch. He came, organized rallies, marched through streets, went on community tours. I even saw the video where he was pleading with his own community not to let him down at the election. And the election came. He saw something that he never ever imagined in his life. But somebody who can't imagine it sits down sulking after failing absently. And so, but I can understand it. If you finish pleading with your community not to let you down, we allowed and then we felt in sympathy with him. We even ignored his polling units. At least let him. While we focused on the wars. Now, APGA, we won all the 4 wars. That is community, all of them. Clear? He left. We thought he would. Why? If you are a serial loser and you see somebody else ascending, you sought to stop us, you couldn't. In 4 years, what we have spent in 4 years is less than what he spent in 1 year in dollar terms. But in terms of the record, the people spoke. To his work, to his community, to Anambra, all over. So,
21 someone says, Oyogun says Obi was just a flash in the pan, but he hasn't realized it yet. In case you didn't hear what he said, let me read to you. He's bitter, just like a serial loser that he is. You can see bitterness all over him. He was putting his posters everywhere as if he's a candidate in this election. I saw him begging his community people not to let him down, and because of that, we in APGA left his polling unit for him and concentrated on the 4 wards in his community. We won all the 4 wards in his own community. Unfortunately for him, the polling unit we left for him, he still couldn't win it. APC defeated him in his own polling unit. This next election, everybody will learn. The old community lole, that support that people had, it has actually evaporated. But yeah, they should not care, Jared. They should just be doing what they were doing. Your Mites on YouTube says he's referring to his former governor of the state, who is synonymously known to be donating money to nursing schools and jobs with roadside corn purchase. I thought it was Ekpa I was doing. No, I was selling granite. I'll be buying granite. Anyway, that was Soludo. Upaka, why are you angry now? It's Soludo, he's your brother. You should be angry with him for talking about Better Obi. Don't come and cry now. Why are you pouring your tears all over this comment section? Ndo? Bele? Ọlọ́run àbẹ̀ ṣe. But you still cry again next year, Sha, because you guys don't learn. This is even Soludo talking. You should listen to him. You are angry with me. Why? 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 Why are you angry with me? Let me play those things. Let me play those things from Tao Edele before we go to other news. Wow, hopefully that guy will get better while I'm playing Tao Edele, because there's another video I'm going to play that will probably get you angry. I'm talking to Okpaka, so don't worry. Don't let your blood pressure rise too much. Just hold. Let's do Tao Edele to help you balance this. This is the Minister of State for Finance. I think he's definitely the Minister of State for Finance now. But when he was speaking to the Senate earlier today, some of the things he said, I'm going to play a couple of clips and then we'll move on to other things. Take a listen, please.
In a nutshell, the priorities will be, one, to work with the team. The Minister for Solid Minerals have been doing a lot, but we need to then complement that with the policy certainty environment, and we may be coming to the National Assembly in this regard. Once we can fix the policy, I think the other issues are secondary, which many of the investors locally and globally are familiar with in terms of how they manage them. So the second question is from the distinguished Senator Mongunu from Borno. Very important point around the fact that our economy is largely public sector driven. Even though our journey is to move towards a private sector-led economy, but it won't happen overnight. And therefore, it's important that from the public sector perspective, when we have budgets, we need to ensure that there is funding behind them, and we need to ensure that there are releases so that we can execute 100% if possible, particularly for capital expenditure. So what do I see? What I've seen just looking at Nigeria's budget over the past 5 years in particular is that we've had too many years when our budgets seem too ambitious compared to our revenue. We were not focusing on the revenue side. We were aspirational, which is good. But at the end of the day, I can say to you that today, the federal government and states combined, we have nearly half of our budget, which is deficit financed. So what we need to then pay more attention to is realistic revenue to drive your budget, and whatever gaps you have to do cash management planning. You know, you've allocated an amount because an area is considered to be important. If there's no money to support it, it's as good as not having been allocated. In my role, if I'm confirmed by this distinguished Senate, will be to first try and create a picture of where we are, like a status quo analysis. In many countries, you even have quantification of what we call domestic arrears. If you are owing contractors, we should know it. We should say, as of today, this is how much we are owing contractors. This is how much we have. This is what the gap is, and this is how we will raise that money. So I think that analysis will be very, very important. Thank His Excellency. I'm deeply honored to appear before this distinguished chamber today. I thank His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the confidence reposed in me through this nomination. And I thank the Senate for the opportunity to share my thoughts on our national fiscal priorities and collective vision, in addition to my curriculum vitae. With over 2 decades of leadership experience, working with national and regional government, multilateral institutions, and global corporations on a range of issues such as business strategy to advance fiscal governance, public finance, and economic transformation. My professional journey across the private sector, academia, and public policy has provided me with extensive experience in fiscal and economic matters. However, this moment is not about my personal accomplishments. It is a call to serve our country at a critical time when Nigeria faces significant fiscal challenges, but also remarkable opportunities. The choices we make in public finance today will shape the prosperity, stability, and well-being of Nigerians both now and in the nearest future. So I'd like to briefly speak with your permission, Mr.
So we've heard a number of things that Mr. Tawe Idile, the Minister of State for Finance, what he had to say during the screening at the Senate. There's a particular thing he said that's actually very powerful. The choices we make in public finance today will shape the prosperity, stability, and well-being of Nigerians both now and in the nearest future. And that's very powerful, and I wish him all the best. We hope that this appointment, we saw what he did with the fiscal reform, tax and fiscal reform committee. So we're hoping he would do well as Minister of State for Finance. Ojulari Akoni, thank you very much for the roses. Everybody on TikTok, be like Ojulari. Let's keep gifting so we can get the live up. And also please bar tap. If you're on TikTok, click on the art icon up here. Join the team. Let's push the live together. And if you're on YouTube and on Facebook, please like and share as well. Just double tap on your screen on YouTube. You've liked it essentially. Folks on X, please like and repost. Okay, now let's move to other parts of our news today. This particular one, I'm going to just read what people are saying. You listen to this video. I'll try not to. Okay, let me put it this way. I can't promise that I'm not going to tell you what I think, but maybe that'll be much later. But first, I'm going to just read what people are saying, and then you can make up your mind. Mr. Julari, thank you very much. Eshegon, I really appreciate it. This video from an interview with Eukaria Anunobi, who used to be an Hollywood actress. She was on a podcast recently. She said some interesting things that people, discuss on social media. And today, unlike what I will do before, where I will play the video and then I'll respond to the video, I'm just going to play the video and then I'll read the comments, just a few, and then I'll ask questions. Let me play you that video. This is from Eukaria Anunobi. Take a listen, please.
Lagosian on let me not use the word unfortunately. Yes, I'm a Lagosian on let me not use the word unfortunately. Perchance, or let me just say, it's just a stroke of chance that I can't speak Yoruba. But I know I do pick, when they abuse you, for every language, you always learn the abusing, part of it, So I'm born and bred on the island here, raised on the island, as a matter of Musa Yaradua, precisely.
Wow.
Yes, so now we get Lagos. Now we be the original islanders, Now we know, say these parts that you guys are is Morocco. You guys are calling it Lekki, you guys are calling it whatever you call it. But we that are the original Lagosians, we know it is Morocco. So after ExxonMobil, I was born and bred in VI. Musaira Doprisai, number 5. That was our house. Okay. And I schooled at St. George's Fallomo, did my A-levels. I even went to children's school, Dodden Barracks. And I did my A-levels. I think my set was the very last of the Federal School of Arts and Science, Victoria Island, Adetokumba, Ademola, before I proceeded with other parts, So, basically, a lot of girls, most often look like their daddy. My dad was a very handsome man, and I looked like my daddy. and I even talk like my daddy, you know. So Igbo man, as it were. I'm proudly Igbo anyway. I'm from Bison. You know, from where I come from, there's some Bison. I'm Bison. They call him Bise, Mbafai, but you know, we call him Bison. So I'm proudly, you know, Igbo, not Igbo. I'm proudly Igbo. And then, you know, I always tell people, don't be ashamed of where you come from, because you are given the opportunity to showcase where you come from to the world, okay? But I'm a Lagosian, as it were, but, you know, by origin and tribe, I'm from Imo State, Mbisa. You know, my dad wanted me to, you know, study law, as it were, because, you know, the Igbo man, they like title, just like every normal, you know, person.
Okay, it's just something. Okay, let me just read this stuff. I promised that I'm just going to read stuff. So, somebody wrote something in that video and says, I see what you're, okay, I said I'll be reading comments, so let me start with your own comments on TikTok. Born in Lagos and cannot speak Yoruba, but is the original islander. Is it Toyota or the island? Okay. So I won't read everything here because this actually video is quite insulting. The person was insulting people from MBC. I have friends from MBC, so I don't want to read that part. But I'm going to read the response that person gave. I think that would be good enough rather than, you know, repeat the derogatory things in the first response. So this person says there is no Osu in MBC. That tells you what the person is saying about Osu and MBC. So this person is Igbo. Says there's no Osun in Mbise, neither in Imo State. Imo State is completely pure original Igbos, the superior of all Igbos. So keep crying. So somebody asks a simple question, which is quite nice. It says, why do the rest of you always say if you see a snake and an Mbise man, leave the snake and kill the Mbise man? Or do you want to deny that? And then the girl says, how do you think an Mbise man cares about it? Then someone else says, if Imo State are considered pure, this is where I'm going on. If Imo State people are considered pure original Igbos, the superior Igbos, then who are the inferior Igbos? Then this girl says, Anambra, Igala descendants, Osu slaves are the fake ones. This is an Igbo person. Anambra, Igala descendants, Osu slaves are the fake ones. So somebody now wrote the classes of Igbos. Say, Enugu, first class Igbo. Anambra, second class Igbo. Abia, third class Igbo. Imo, fourth. Ebonyi, Igbos consider them as the scum. So Ebonyi, Igbos consider them as the scum of the Igbos. This is not good. Then the Jennifer girl that has been speaking all the while now says, no, Imo is first class Igbo. Abia, second class. Enugu, third class. Ebonyi, fourth. Anambra, fifth. You see, me, I don't care about the whole islander thing. So you don't speak Yoruba, you're not a Yoruba person, but you are the original islander, you're a joker. I mean, nobody has to tell anybody that the person is not but you know, if you are saying based on residence, I mean, you've been there, but you know, if you keep a car in a garage, if you take a person to a garage, doesn't turn the person to a car. So you can stay in the garage all your life, you'll still be who you are. So whether he's Islander or Highlander, that's his problem, or that's her problem. But the real issue is this: people trying to have a conversation around this. You then have Igbos classifying themselves, telling you which one is first class amongst themselves based on states. All I got from this, sincerely, is like, how do you go out into the country, right, and tell everybody to be united, and in 2026, you see you have stratification, you have hierarchy, and there's one that is superior, there's one that's first class and second class. How do you even think like that? I didn't want to read the first thing that actually, you know, got them into all this. Someone was calling some people Osu, and I don't. Are there Osu in Igbo land? Of course. In fact, there's a report that says, this is from G. Ugo Nwokeji. He estimated that the Osu represented 5 to 10% of the Igbo population. With an ethnic population of about 30 million Igbos in Nigeria, this suggests that between 1.5 and 3 million Igbos suffer from this discrimination. The vast majority of Osu are found in Imo State, which has about 5.2 million people, but they are in every other Igbo-dominated state as well: Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, and Abia. So I know that there are Osus, and I know that they are all over the place, and there are a lot in Imo State. I'm not calling anybody Osu, but there are many. But here's the point. The point is an Igbo person saying that no, it's that other people that are, even though the research shows that it's our own state that actually has more Osu, but he's saying no, it's not even about that. Our state is the superior one. Then there's second class, then third class, fourth and fifth class. Now that person comes to you as a Yoruba person. This is my message to you. This is my message to you. That person comes to you as a Yoruba person and teaches you, or attempts to teach you, what unity should look like in Nigeria, and tell you, forget about your ethnicity, we are all the same Nigerians. And you think the person, by the way, the person knows what they're doing, but you think that you are being detribalized by saying, oh, after all, we are all one. You are not thinking. You Yoruba person is like, say, we are all one now. Nobody, we're not different. Everybody's Nigerian. Amongst themselves, where they come from, they have stratification. The bigot is calling you, is not you calling the bigot, he's telling you what he is. Every action, and you'll be doing that in 2026. By the way, just to be clear, the stratification based on states is different from the caste system in each state too. So as a general rule, this state is that I used to think it was even a number that was number one, because they are the ones they call themselves really Igbo, and there's a reason for that. And the reason, of course, is because they have a different history apart from the folks in the hinterland. And the history essentially is that their own relationship with slavery was a bit different. And it's not even all of Anambra, it's folks in Onitsha. What's happening in Anambra right now, to be honest, is just folks in Anambra adopting the Onitsha mindset about identity and origins. That's what's happening for the most part. But that's not today's topic anyway. But the point I'm trying to make is, I used to think, maybe they used to say, it's something I used to think, I've read it was Anambra. And then I think, I don't even know the number, but I know Anambra used to be number one. Then they had Abianimo, then Enugu and Ebonyi were down there. I hope it changes. But apart from the fact that they will do the state for you, they used to do towns. So each state still has stratification according to their autonomous communities. Also, if you are from this particular place, you are higher than that person. All of that is now different from, are you Osu or Ohu? Are you a descendant of sacred slaves, or from secular slaves, the normal slaves? Now, that's their business. It's not my problem. But here's the problem. My own problem with all of this. See, if you say you are second class, if you say you have 10 strata or 10 classification, but you cannot come from that place and teach your people about unity and diversity. That's the point. You can't let us be united. These are the people that gave you. Forget your differences. These are the people that are teaching you what it means to unite. You, because you assume that everybody is exactly the way you come from, where you are, everybody just like your people, you just say, oh, we are all the same. You are not thinking straight. I'm just telling us, Yoruba people particularly. And I'm saying because the people that even come and be saying nonsense in my comments, some of them Yoruba. They don't know Jack. Very ignorant and very, what's the word, naive. We're not doing this because you hate the particular group, you want to condemn a group. I don't have time. I'm actually trying to help us. Let me not say you. I'm trying to help us to say, listen, I have unity, but I have boundaries. I'm not against unity. I'm not averse to unity. But I hate disorderliness and dysfunction, and people that prefer to live in dysfunctional societies. But if you come from a place where you have the original and then the inferior and the real one and the fake one, you can't be teaching folks about we are all one. You are not even one where you come from. And I don't think they get this, because how can you be talking like this in 2026? Oh, this state, Imo is one, or Anambra is one, Enugu, Kiniko, and then Abia. You now go from town to town, I'll be hearing, are you Osu? And the sad part about this Osu, by the way, Osu thing is actually very, very serious case, and I hope that, I don't know, I hope it ends, because it's generational. Like, people can't even change. They don't even have the opportunity to break free. It's the blood is like when they say, when they have conversations, people talk about tainted blood. That's actually what they call tainted blood. They can't mix with the rest of society. So, number one, you have the situation where some Igbos are higher than others. That's one problem. The other one is now that within the whether you are high or low, within that one, you can now talk about the fact that the caste you belong to. This is a lot of work for people to fix, and I hope they fix it. But the point I'm just trying to make with all my Torrenti is, you can't come from that kind of place and teach Nigeria unity. You don't even know what unity looks like. That's the point. All this one I saying that is the original islander. It should go to Oba of Lagos and go and tell Oba of Lagos that we want to give them idea. By the way, there's a list of Osu communities I have here. I just want to read it because I don't think that's what I want to do today. My focus is just Yoruba people getting, gaslighted and manipulated by folks who don't have what they're trying to get you to have. Yoruba sọ pé tí wọ́n fẹ́ dá aṣọ fún ni, ẹni tí wọ́n fẹ́ dá aṣọ fún yàn, tọrùn ẹ̀ làákọ́ wò. Charity should begin at home. I'm going to read some comments here. Akadol says, "Ẹni tó bá máa dáṣọ fún we're thinking the same way." He said, "Ẹni tó máa dáṣọ fún ènìyàn, ẹ jẹ́ ká wo nǹkan tí àwọn fúnra rẹ̀ wọ̀." Exactly, like ẹni tó máa dáṣọ fún ni tọrùn ẹ̀ làwò. Michael Olumola says, "Igbos are only united outside their region, only against a common enemy." That's quite sad. Philip says, "Thought it was live." Yes, this is live. This is live. Again, we've talked a lot about this little Lagosian thing. Anybody that's just talking nonsense is just deceiving themselves. But out of this, we are discovering, and you know why I'm reading what they are saying. Like I said, I'm reading what they are saying just to tell you that what you think you know about certain people, you don't know as much as you think. I'm detribalized. I'm just Nigerian. I don't care. Go with that your neighbor. Go home with that person. And to be clear, I'm not saying that, every ethnicity is perfect. There's no perfect ethnicity anywhere. But I've not heard of any ethnicity that has classification as to the real one and the fake ones amongst them that is believed by all of them. Apart from just jibes. So this is like something that is somehow hardwired into people's identity. It's interesting. But these are the people that will teach you about unity. Please unite at home. May God bless you. May God bless your region. And may everything work out fine. But don't teach me nonsense. That's the last song, Abby. Anyway, a couple more things before we go to today's class. A young man decided to do a video. He said he's apologizing to Yoruba people. Much of what he said in Igbo, but let me help him amplify what he has to say. If you understand Igbo, that's good. If not, you will get the point somewhere, because he was spicing it up with English language. Take a listen to this.
I want to kneel down and say that I'm sorry for all the posts made in concern about demolition and Lagos. Even on the Lagos, demolish Begaba. We Igbos are supposed to be the ones now apologizing to Yoruba people for false allegation. Because one guy is when they criticize demolition and our peoples in their shops in Lagos. Just a little. More bono, just a demolition of honor because of government. Senana cho idozio. My name came in Obudai. The highest demolition in go. Now one of the biggest market without any notice, without any space, without informing the landlord to make sure that their tenants are refunded. They often need you over mobile and one. Man, this year. Neke si me ye konobula and Igbo. Nego si me ye konobula on the ban. Okay, ndị Yoruba na-azụ afịa na main market kwa kita na how will they feel? I don't see this shop now. Get to the effect here and one. A man na a woman now we kill shop na azụ afịa na main market. Within this space of time, or wabune kuku shop, ma wabune tolafia. This thing remain na. Okay, make it be big. Then why I don't shop part to standard? A block of politics. It's in the main market now. Every shop na mado ya kuku shop. Can use of 5. Man, your Safia can just whenever I could be a sample. Didn't know. I just wash up now to standard. We root on Obuna. Then one name and Onobana now. Apollo, Adarono. Una Apoliana Pata, a week Alusigia, a month Alusigia, in honor as a family man. People see only in each. My God, Jesus. I bet you politics. I bet you go shop, Marosia shop, maybe by next year. Mopana Chukuma Mara because space back. Chai. A man, I ever seen a quote demolition in Yoruba land. At least Yoruba land, I have no a demolition one side. No, a demolition. Maranka. Go. MLM to say now. And then I God, Jesus. We're supposed to apologize to Yoruba people. I wish that I can reverse everything over now because of not the demolition in Yoruba land. Nesan came in Igbo land. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. To my Yoruba brothers, you people are right. You people we are not doing demolition because of hatred. We did it for development. We have understand. We are sorry. I'm sorry. Time. Your name, man.
You know, when I really began to understand how a person can turn victimhood into almost like a trade was when the whole thing with Landmark happened. And people went to town. Oh, they hate them. Oh, it's because it's Igbo. Oh, it's because it's that. Oh, it's because it's this. Oh, they are taking it away from me. Oh, my God. I think your Bible, we are not trying. Soludo knows his people. And he knows how to treat them. We just be speaking English. We're just for instance, last week there is this one that was constituting nuisance in Lagos, cooking on the road. It happened a while back when she cooked on the road, and some things came up, and then I think it was one of those people were finding a way to I don't know whether to reward her or to compensate her. Now she's back on the road cooking, and then our commissioner is saying to her that she should not be cooking on the road, which is right, but they won't do that in the South East. Omatic Bay. Soludo knows exactly what to do. That's why he saw what happened with the sit at home on Mondays. He just told them he was going to shut down their shops. Try that in Yoruba land. If you're not going to hear that, it's because the person is Igbo. Okay, so what are you going to say about Soludo now? Because he's not Igbo. You are building on canals. They take drainage, do foundation. But nobody must touch those buildings, because if they do, it's because you are Igbo. And the Yoruba governor is saying, let it not be like that. Let it be like that. The gentleman is saying here that at least for Yoruba people, they will demolish one part and let you use one, then they'll come back and demolish the other one. But that in their own place, that the governor just came and demolished everything without warning. I don't know whether he gave them notice or not. I think he must have given them notice, because no matter how harsh you are, he will still tell them. But You know, I don't think he would do that without notice, to be fair. But here's the point. How many times have you heard that anybody said Soludo was being tribalistic by demolishing those markets in Anambra State? And how come is when it happens in your space is because you hate an ethnic group? In other words, let us destroy your land, but you can't touch it because you have to show that you are not a tribalist. That's nonsense now. That's nonsense. I'm just trying to explain to people that some of the things that you guys say, we talk and you're like, oh, do you hate them? Go and ask how they are treated at home. Do people just allow people just do anything they like because you are going to cry and say you are the victim? Victimhood is not the reality, it's a strategy. I don't know why people don't understand this in Nigeria. From the southeast, and this happened, it started in recorded history since the 1940s. I have documents, books going back to the 1940s of victimhood being used as a strategy for getting something from the government. It is not the reality, it has always been a strategy. And if you fall for it, it's your problem, it's your fault. You just go and laugh and say, let it go, let it go. So that one said he's apologizing. I mean, may God forgive all of us. But that's not even my own business, to be honest. I'm playing this for Yoruba people to understand that standing up for what's right. I'm not saying be a bigot. I'm not saying hate people and do terrible things, because that one too will affect you personally, to affect your heart, and I don't think you want to do that. But saying that this is how we want to, this is how we want to do things here, and having to apologize for that because you're being called a bigot, it's stupid. You should never have to apologize for anything like that. The person who is calling you a bigot, let them go back to their father's house and go and visit the way they want. You saw what happened with the coastal road. You saw the kind of pushbacks. Me, I was not like, you say you like this state, you say you like this nation, how come you be against this particular, infrastructure? Now they're using that road. Now they're telling you that the road is not wide enough. Then they say, oh, why is it not wide enough? Why can't there be a railway corridor? Is there no railway space there? Why is there no railway there? They should have had the railway from Lagos to Calabar instead of road. The railway is literally, the space for that is literally there. But they don't care about it. They're just looking for something else to say. Now you are driving on that same road that you said they should not build because, touching one building, which is not even part of the original Kineo, but touching it shows that the government is being tribalistic and they're against evil people. Educated people, doctors, PhD holders, said everything government was doing there was because the person was Igbo, or the people that the shops they were demolishing were Igbo shops. That's what PhD holders, PhD. And I'm saying that because you know what it means to earn a PhD. It's amazing how everybody thinks the same way in certain parts of Nigeria. Everybody is a victim. That thing is not going to work again. And the reasons to not work is what I'm saying right now. Election is coming very soon. You can't hear things like, if you don't vote because you're a bigot, that's your problem. And your father's relative, I don't care. If you want to vote for anybody, even if you want to vote for Peter Obi, vote for him. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. If in your head, the best person that you want to vote for is Peter Obi, if you ever get a ticket, I don't think it will, but maybe it's going to change party. Anyhow, if you think he's the best person to vote for, that's you don't have to explain. I don't have to ask anybody to explain to you why they are voting Tinubu. I see the nonsense that people write on social media. If you want to vote Tinubu, come and tell us the reasons. Why should anybody tell you the reasons? Why? Who are you? That what? Are you marking a script? And Johnny can say, he's not asking you to convince him. He's asking you to Johnny. Why do you want to vote for him? Then if you now talk, say because you're Yoruba. That's why it's because you're Yoruba. That's why I like what people are doing right now. Just ask them, why do you want to vote for Tinubu? One guy wrote something very interesting. I laughed. He said he had two reasons for voting Tinubu. Number one, because he's Yoruba. Number two, because on local. Those are not my reasons, but that's something. Explain to people who on a normal day should be somewhere. Lastly, I'm going to play you something from Fari says, yes, now I saw it on TikTok. It was on Twitter. Say, why are you going to vote for Tinubu? He said, for two reasons. Number one, because he's Yoruba. Number two, because Onlokon is next. I've said it. The way people are doing politics in Nigeria, I try to be balanced. People don't even care. People just go to the extreme. What will you do? Kill over see. Okay, I'm voting for him because he's Yoruba. What are you going to do about it? What? If you ask me, I'm not even going to answer you. Unless I know that you're a sensible person. And my answer, of course, won't be because it's Yoruba. I mean, that can't be my answer. I'll be explaining stuff. But that would be because that you are worth it. Generally speaking, I owe nobody explanation for why I like Tinubu or why I'm supporting him. I've said the reasons here several times, by the way, so I have no problem telling the reasons, but I don't owe anybody that reason. If I like, let it be because he's dark in complexion. That's my business. Or because he lives on body now. Somebody said Twitter is a funny place. Somebody said on Twitter, he said the reason he's going to vote for Tinubu is because he lives on Bodilion. That Bodilion sounds better than Agulu. I was like, how you buru go Nigeria you? Bad no Agulu. So the reason she wants to, it's actually a girl. The reason she wants to vote for Tinubu is because he lives in Ikoyi, and the other one is from Agulu. You can argue with your keyboard. But people are actually quite funny. Like, why would you vote based on residence and the name of this street? But I'm just telling you that people are going to a point where they don't care. But for the rest of us who are still vacillating, we will help you arrive at a very concrete decision. Not to tell you what to do, but to let you understand how things are, not how things should be. Listen, even if you have an ideal situation in mind, you can't get there if you also don't understand the real situation, the reality, what's happening at the moment. You have to know what it is in order to build what can be. All this detribalized nonsense you are doing is not going to help any. It's not going to help you, because let me tell you something. The tribalized or not detribalized, Tinubu is going to win. How do I know? 31 governors in APC. They are going to move. I mean, they won't make the mistakes they made in the last election. They're going to move a lot of, resources to ensure that they campaign in those spaces. Think about what the governors are doing. Think about what Wiki is doing, for instance, like the one I read earlier, elevating the stool of the A2 quality from second class to first class. Things like that. They've been playing this game. They've been cleaning house. They've been putting structures in place. You are jumping from LP to ADC to no PC to we don't know where it is now. While they are doing all of those things, they are building structures. It will win by the grace of God, because everything is still in the hands of God. But based on everything, by the grace of God, it will win. So if you like, do the tribalize, you just come and cry. Why am I saying you will cry? Because you'll be tormenting yourself with a promise from somebody that can never fulfill it. And that's the reason the person will not be able to get there. But the promise will be the reason for your existence. You just be angry. Just be angry, like, oh, why are they not doing this? Why are they not? Even when they are doing all the good things, you won't see any good in it, because you have been somehow conditioned to go in a particular direction, which is why your Lord and Savior would have a problem with the fact that food prices are crashing. Imagine that rice was still expensive with what's happening in Iran right now. How much do you think we're buying rice now? I mean, they used to say everything is on rice before, Abi. Now the price has crashed. Now, Peter will be saying that why is food cheaper? It's going to be affecting farmers. Let us move on. Oh, I want to play something from Malay. This one is actually quite good. Maybe because it's from Port Harcourt. I think Zikwere. It shows, actually. It shows from what he said. I'd like to play you something from Omale, and then no, before I play something from Omale, sorry, I just saw something very interesting. I apologize. Let me play this thing first, please. Enjoy. And Agbalagba, this is a mature man, a family man. Listen to him. This is what some of you are going to be doing with all your detribalized nonsense. Take a listen.
Where is Peter B? Where is Peter B? Where is Peter B? Give us Peter B if all of us will die in this country. Oh. Where is Peter B? Where is Peter B? Where is Peter B? Give us Peter B if all of us will die in this country. Oh.
That's politics. Agbalagba, that's the point where they are crying that they should give you Peter Obi. Then take them from you. Your mind says ADC ticket belongs to Atiku. Obi will either have to be on the same ticket with Atiku or not on the ballot. Another party is loading at this point. Because even that VP, I don't even think that one is even sure. Tokwe Noel says, how many months can I use to become as politically learner as you? We all spend our lifetime learning. We're all learning. We learn every day. Like today, I've learned some things, but some things you learn for yourself. Some things you learn to share. But you learn primarily for yourself anyway. We keep learning. All of us keep learning. Now he's saying, where is Peter Obi? Well, it was Peter Obi. This is how to win elections. Imagine, you know, I have a mentor. I mean, I have a number of mentors, but this particular one who told the story once that if you have a child, let's say you have a young person who he's not child, so he's like in his 20s, and he wants to woo a girl, and he begins to cry. You know that there's a problem in that person's life or family. Because they are used to crying to collect biscuits as children. How can an adult cry about elections? Your own Messiah did not even say he won that election. You know, all these court cases they had the last time, the tribunal, you know, not once the Peter Obi said he won that election. No. Not once. He didn't even make that claim. But somehow his disciples are saying that the third has become the first because, you know, that's what they said, and we have to believe it. Where is Peter Obi? Where is Peter Obi? Imagine these guys are the ones. Imagine Peter Obi had won. Ha! It is well. Oh, you go. So what statement did I make? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, the last video I'll play, I'll bring some people up there. We'll get to today's topic. Is from Omale. I want to play this one because I think it's positive and I want to end on a good note. Take a listen to this young man.
Also, Afrobeat. I want to tell you guys that Afrobeat is mainly Lagos. It's mainly Yorubas. It's founded by Fela Kuti. We all know that Fela Kuti is the pioneer of Afrobeat, and he's Yoruba. I come from Port Harcourt. There are only two people from Port Harcourt that you know. It's Burna Boy and me.
Yes.
When you you have to go from Port Harcourt and break Lagos for you to be respected. That's not where I'm from. I'm from a different city, but I have to come here. I have to break this place. So it got to a point I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my time and look at my family, look at my fans, people that really love me, and I'm gonna stay there, take all that energy. The rest of you, the rest of the world, don't Fuck off. God, you know, that shit. And that's what she wrote. You know, crazy. Okay, well, I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen.
You know, sometimes a person can be young and wise, and you can find older people who are just complete dunces. I spoke with one on Facebook today. Got to a point, the person said, I finished university. I said, okay, so no. No, he said that, I think he said that the other day, then I said something yesterday. Let me just say the crux of it. Like, I finished, you went to OAU. I know you went to OAU. I don't know who told him. I know you went to OAU, but I went to Sukan. I finished in 1986. Come and prove that your degrees are real. Sorry, come and prove something along the lines of that your degrees are good or something. And why is he saying this? Because they want us to believe the victim narrative is the correct one, that all of us have to swallow hook, line, and sinker. For me, I think answering, and I wrote it to the person, like, comparing myself to you will be infradig. Why am I saying this? Because if a young man like this knows that, listen, this music, this style of music is from this place, they are the ones that, it's theirs. I've come from another place to get into this place. I'm going to work here and break into that space. And the beautiful thing is that nobody's stopping you from breaking. But the fact that a young person would acknowledge what it is, and the reason is not because he's young or old, it's a cultural thing. It's culture. And that's why you notice you have different people living in Lagos. I mean, just listen to a person who is a lot older shouting at my islander. Different people living in Lagos. You have the Orobo, you have the Benin, you have Hausa, you have Kanuri, you have Tiv, you have Idoma, you have Ibibio, you have Angas, you have Efik, you have, of course, with us, the Yoruba people, many people, only one disrespects the host. The real issue is culture. And like I always say, it has to do with the evolution of the people. They will not listen sharp because, again, evolution. But it's good to have a young person like this. I mean, it's not even about the age, to be honest. Just to have somebody who knows, how to move in such spaces, and just and giving credit to folks does not reduce you in any. As a matter of fact, I think it actually makes people appreciate you more. Like, I know some of his songs, but of course it's not my cup of tea. But he's somebody. I mean, you hear these songs. The way they do their songs. It doesn't matter whether you are inclined towards their music, you will hear their music. So I've heard some of his songs, even though it's not a song that I will, But I appreciate, and I appreciate him even more. I mean, even want to now listen more. Just something that simple, like how you move, how you carry yourself. Not moving everywhere and be acting as if, you brought people in. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's good news, and but not good news. Good stuff from the gentleman. All right, I'm going to bring some people up. We'll make this very quick, and then we'll go to class. We're going to discuss Awo on Trial, The Defense Strikes Back, Volume 2. That's Volume 2, Part 2, I meant to say. And we're going to read more from Papa. We're going to have a great time today. Okay. So folks who are sending their requests, I'm going to bring you up. As soon as you get up, please mute so that we don't have interference. And then you can go on to share your thoughts later. No, I can only bring one person. The others have user. Please have a name. I can't bring user. You have user, clinical number 004, clinical. Just have a name so that I'll be able to call you by your name. I'm speaking from experience, and I'm sure you understand as well. Please change to a proper name and then send your request. I'll bring you up. Thank you. Bumblebee, good evening.
Prof, good evening, Prof.
Ekwalao.
Yes, sir. Akweto.
Yes, sir.
Akweto. Yeah, thank you for everything you are doing. And to the teachings and everything. So I think one news that didn't cross your radar today is Mauritania. You know, they said they are deporting some spare part sellers, some Nigerian spare part sellers. Yes,
Really?
yes. So
Wow.
you will still come across it. I think when these people look back in years to come, when the chicken comes home to roast, you know, they will actually realize that Yoruba people have given them a lot of grace. A lot of grace. There will be a day when they will come back and realize that we've extended so much grace to them. So it's sad all my life. You know, one thing I'm sure you agree with me, growing up in a Yoruba house, Yoruba parents never talked about the Civil War. They just tell you that that's all you hear about the Civil War. Nobody really cared about the details like that. They just knew the war was over and that was it. And it turns out at the end of the day that, you know, for someone who grew up in Lagos like me, you come to develop, you know, a perception of these people from your daily interaction. Everything you see that people complain about today is not because of the history they heard or they read. It's because of the daily interaction they have with these people. It is then you now realize that why are these people doing like this? And then you are now realizing that this is how they are, you know, just terribly behaved people, very disrespectful to their hosts. They don't respect other people's spaces. They don't respect people. You know, there was a time you mentioned that when they have houses, after paying 1 year, you will begin to have to drag them to court to pay subsequent years. But the only place they don't do that with is where they do their business. They care so much about their business and their money. You know, they will pay you for the shop. But when it's not once or two. I've seen people, I've actually seen real life situations where they just keep the case in court for 5 years and they are there living in the house, not paying rent. They will say the case is still in court, they won't move out, they will just stay there. So these are the people you have to do. So now you're now saying they now go around saying they don't rent house to us because we are Igbos. And once they find out that you're Igbo, you know, they don't rent house. Who would want to do that? Why would I want to be in court for 5 years for a house that I rented to you in good faith? It's not reasonable. So another part of it is Kunle Afolayan. I think I want to mention that I like the fact that the guy didn't blame his predicament on the government, which is something we need to get used to in this country. Another thing we need to get used to is people need to get comfortable, number one, with paying your taxes and holding your leaders accountable for spending your taxes properly. Number two, people need to start getting comfortable with paying the right prices for the right commodities. Petrol is not cheap anywhere in the world. But what you now need to do is to probably mark up your prices for whatever services you're providing. You know, just a little markup. Look deeper into your revenue models. Not everything is about the government. I was speaking with one of my expatriate friends one day, and he mentioned, and he said he has known me for 4 years. I've never complained about the government for one day. That I meet a lot of Nigerians, and the first thing they complain about is government. I was like, can my area to survive? Me and him never had any serious conversation, but he just made that observation and just said it in passing. I was like, if you're a right-thinking person, if you're in a space and some people are prospering and some people are not prospering, sometimes maybe you need to look inwards. Yes, the government needs to do a lot in the area of security. I mean, I'm not scoring this government very much in the area of security. It's not total. I don't totally blame them, but they need to do better. But the US government, so at least they're on ground. I'm not really pushing the wanting boss cause. They are no longer shouting religious and that. So those are just some of the contributions I wanted to make. Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, my brother. I really do appreciate your submission. Very, very, very good. And it's right. You're correct. I don't think that people should shy away from calling out the government for what the government should do. I just think some people's MO, right, their go-to, the default setting is that everything is the fault of. And by the way, let me tell you the reason. The reason is that we have to find a way to get you to. Let me not say that. I can't say it by myself. They find a way to get you to agree with them on what's happening so that you can all cry together. It's essentially misery loves company, right? So you get to the point where what you're having is just trauma bonding, pity party. There's nothing coming out of it apart from the fact that I've told you my problem. You also talk about your problem, and let's blame everything on the government. That's it. And afterwards, you go to the next person. And it's that when you have tipper load of sand or granite, I can't just everywhere you are going, you are dropping payloads of misery. And people do it across the ethnicity, so it's not about one ethnic group. But it's a shame that this is some people's go-to, right? It's like their MO, and it's just sad. And for folks, I think it's important what you just said also, that it's not that people are saying. So, for instance, I don't know any Yoruba family. I don't know. Maybe they exist, but I've been around for a bit and I've spoken to a number of people. I've never, as a Yoruba person, sat down with another Yoruba person or know any Yoruba person that was taught in their home about what happened during the war. And I think the reason was because even at the end of the war, our parents' reaction to the suffering people in Igbo land was to help them. Who is this retard in the comment section writing rubbish? 1 second though. Why don't you have a name? I have a name now, so I can call. I see you're trying to come up to speak, but I can't accept you because you have no name. How do I call you? I can't be
block it, Jerry.
9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyway, the point is, Yoruba, the way they related. I mean, we lost people during that war. We don't talk about it because we're not losers and we're not victims, but we lost people during that war. Not dozens or a lot of people during that war. Number two, after the war, we also tried to help, and we did help, whether as individuals, as churches, and as state governments, by sending relief materials to the southeast. That's why we don't have anything like, oh, see what they did, we are 18. There's no reason for that, because now help with the help. But there's something I've noticed, right? If you look at, people just come around and say, because something happened to me, I must be able to do anything I want to do, and you have to understand. And if you say no, be like, did you not know that I fought a war? There's a point where the person you have been showing compassion, you have to now begin to wait to even come like, I'm not the reason for your misery. And I think that's where we are in Nigeria. You want to be compassionate, but then you have people trying to weaponize empathy and making you feel like you're a stupid person, you're a fool for being empathetic. At that point, you begin to wait, I'm not the reason for your misery. Maybe that's what people prefer. Jesus is Lord. Great timing. How did you think of what you just wrote in the comment section? Wow. Well done. I don't even want to read it out, but wow. Thank you. But that's something. All right, let's have Concilium. Good evening, Concilium Preventers. Ẹkáàbọ. Yes, sir.
I would like a submission of Bumblebee here, but I want to add two things to it. The first one is the fact that I think after the Civil War, our parents, like you rightly said, felt some sort of pity towards these people. And
yes,
also know at the back of their minds that it was our leaders that led them astray. That most of them are like sheep. They didn't have a mind of their own. And they were led astray by their leaders. Another important thing I need to mention here is this. This notion of what that lady was saying, Chiri Anobi. These people have been, since the end of the Civil War, and since the military took over in the 70s and 80s to be exact, they have been active collaborators with the military, because the military, as at that time, was obviously majority northern soldiers. They did not feel that they could trust anybody from the southwest, so they used them instead. A lot of them made their wealth during that period. A lot of them became rich from hobnobbing with all these military men, because that was the only way they knew how. Because back in those days, I can tell you for now, I've been practicing law at least 22 years now, and I can tell you for free that before BVN, before NIN, multiple names, Lamari, you will see somebody, Chike, they will put it in like 3 or 4, 5 different ways. Until BVN came, we didn't know who they were. We didn't know who they were. And this is their own way of trying to slide in the system. Everybody knows it, unless you want to deny it. Wọn lè sọ ẹ́ ní Adékúnlé kọ́ fún ẹ lórúkọ kọ́ foríkì ẹ sáárín kọ́ akínkọ̀ Balógun kọ́ wá pé oríkì ẹ as your first name in Yoruba land. It doesn't work like that. You are the only ones that will call yourself Chike Michael Chike. You are the only ones that do that. That's Yelobe. The truth of the matter is I think our parents did it because space. So I guess that's one of the things. And
sorry, you were saying someone thinks you are saying BBL. You meant BVN, right?
BVN.
Okay,
because when BVN came about, we realized a lot of them were just using fake names.
So what he's saying basically is that with BVN and NIN, you can't use fake names. So it's not BBL like you're writing.
You can't turn your name around.
Please continue.
That's the way they were dropping certificates back in the day now. If you're tell the about Dogba, that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. Even in transactions that I saw a lot of them. You see someone, you will know his name, and then he'll give you a check. You see a different structure of his name, and you're like, what is going on? Different accounts, different, and that's how it was very hard to track them down. Until BVN came about, and NIN, they're untraceable. But that's besides the point. The real issue going anyway. We need to know who we are. I think our parents knew it, and they more or less thought that. And obviously, because democracy took a long time to actually settle, because all the while democracy was we didn't have democracy. They were living the life. This man that is shouting Obi one. He made his money when Abacha was in power. Now, who the hell knew what business acumen did he have? What business acumen did he have? Even in the 90s, got on party, nobody knew who he was. He was just one of the Igbo boys that were making money, and he continued to make his money. No problem. I'm trash here. So I think we need to educate ourselves, and the job you are doing is, I have to commend you. You are doing a fantastic job, because you see it all over social media now. People down alone. What do you want to do? You cannot do anything. You have no unity in your place. You want to give us unity here. We don't want your sort of unity. Go back home and go and practice it at home. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much, Consiglius Proventus. I think some people are trying to come up. So there's a particular person. I really don't mind bringing you up. All you need to do, and it's very simple, just get a name, right? You can literally do it now, right? Just go there, edit your name, put something there. I can't be calling you user 938874555. Abba. Put your name, But I mentioned something that our parents were very lenient. I'm going to play you a video from 1970. This was just after the Civil War, and what Yoruba people were saying.
The Igbos will be your brothers after this. Of course, really. We like them. They are still Nigerians. We want them. That's why we are fighting for unity. Do you think they will like you so much, though, after all this?
I mean, I can say, but we know that we like them.
But do you feel it will be easy to integrate them in Nigeria now?
Well, they are already Nigerians.
What?
They are already Nigerians. You never dispute them.
Well, they disputed it, though, didn't they?
No, they didn't dispute.
Well,
They were misled.
Well, they set up a country of their own, called it Biafra.
They were misled, not that they
Oh, they were misled.
They were misled. And they've now seen the light.
Do you feel that the Igbo, can you accept that the Igbos will be your brothers after this
Of
war?
course, really. We like them. They are still Nigerians. We want them. That's why we are fighting for unity.
Do you think they will like you so much, though, after all this?
I mean, I can say, but we know that we like them.
But do you feel it will be easy to integrate them in Nigeria now?
They are already Nigerians.
What?
They are already Nigerians. You never dispute them.
Well, they disputed it, though, didn't they?
No, they didn't dispute.
Well,
They were misled.
Well, they set up a country of their own, called it Biafra.
They were misled, not that they
Oh, they were misled.
They were misled. And they've now seen the light.
Do you feel that the Igbo, can you accept the Igbo?
You see how Yoruba people were making excuses for Igbos. See how they were making excuses for them and saying things like, oh, they were misled, or they're not bad people. You know, it was just, you know, they are Nigerians. There's another video, I'm going to find it. It's on the other device, but I'm using that device for, I think, for Twitter. I'll find you that video. What happened in Port Harcourt and how those ones responded. While our own parents were saying, let them come back. I mean, we are brothers. The folks who called them brothers are the ones that are calling tribalists now. I'll play that video later, but let me bring up Bumblebee. I'll find you that video. It's somewhere. Hello, Bumblebee, please go on. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think it dropped. I need to be user. Sorry, I can't bring you up for real. I wish I could. I'll tell you what they said in that video. They asked those people. I wish I could find you that video. It'll be really good to find it. They asked those people if the Igbos could return, and they said no. Oh, okay, Bumblebee, I get it. They said no. I don't want them to come back. And they said, oh, but are they not Nigerians? Can they not come back? You know? And those guys said, not yet. These were people in Port Harcourt. These were their own people. So you expect that, okay, they would, you know, welcome them with open arms. These were their neighbors. Apparently, those ones know them. Those ones know them better than we do. They definitely do. You know, we are the ones we don't understand. We're just speaking, doing good people, great nation. Right now, I think those people probably did the better thing, to be honest, because you can't just go to them and tell them nonsense. Now we'd be waiting to call us now, bigots. But if I find you that video later, I'll play it. Maybe when I put this video out, I'll play it there. But it's one of the videos that we've done